Police this morning are investigating a deadly Border Patrol chase in Texas near San Antonio. At least 5 people were killed and several others hurt yesterday when an SUV overturned as it was being pursued by a Border Patrol agent.
The high-speed chase that led to this deadly crash reached speeds of up to 100 miles an hour and ended with this SUV rolling over in Big Hills, Texas, 50 miles from the border with Mexico.
What we could tell, the vehicle ran off the road and caught gravel and then tried to recorrect and then caused the vehicle to turn over several times.
14 people were inside the Chevrolet Suburban while being pursued by Border Patrol agents and a sheriff's deputy. Most of the passengers inside were ejected and 5 of them were killed.
There was a big dust of dirt in the air, and as soon as it settled, I just saw all the bodies.
Amelia Flores, a nurse, was one of the first witnesses on the scene.
They were just asking for help. Help me, I hurt, and it was just chaotic.
Authorities believe many of the passengers were in the country illegally. U.S. Customs and Border Protection says a Border Patrol agent pursued the truck because they believed it was part of a 3-vehicle smuggling event. Earlier, they had stopped 2 other vehicles and made arrests. But when they attempted to pull this one over, it ended in the fatal accident.
The driver was not ejected. The deputy found him sitting upright in the seat. He was able to get him out of the vehicle, and the driver was actually walking.
The driver and 1 passenger are believed to be U.S. citizens and will likely face state and federal charges.
The fatal crash is now under investigation by Border Patrol, the Texas Department of Public Safety, the Dimmitt County Sheriff's Office, Homeland Security Investigations and Customs, and Border Protection's Office of Professional Responsibility. Now, groups gathered in South Texas on Sunday to speak out against Trump administration policy that led to the separation of immigrant families. The National Domestic Workers Alliance, United We Dream, the American Civil Liberties Union, and other groups were there. Attendees displayed signs saying "End family separation" and "All families belong together." Among other messages, lawmakers were also in Texas Sunday to tour detention facilities and speak out against the new policy. Oregon Senator Jeff Merkley has spoken directly with Attorney General Jeff Sessions and also wants to meet with the president to discuss concerns. Laura Bush is getting into the immigration debate as well. The former First Lady penned a scathing column addressing the Trump administration's immigration policy, specifically the separation of the families at the U.S. border. Now, Bush calls the practice, quote, cruel and immoral. She also writes, quote, "In 2018, can we not as a nation find a kinder, more compassionate and more moral answer to this current crisis?" Her column follows remarks from Melania Trump's spokeswoman, who earlier Sunday told CNN, quote, "Mrs. Trump hates to see children separated from their families and hope both sides of the aisle can finally come together to achieve successful immigration reform." And the Trump administration's zero policy towards illegal border crossings has ignited the debate around the country. And the Department of Homeland Security says the U.S. government has separated at least 2,000 children from parents at the border since April. Now, Democratic lawmakers are voicing their anger over the family separations and demanding the Trump administration change its policy. Melissa Rainey has the latest.
He just doesn't care enough about human beings, and all he cares about is trying to get a wall no matter what it costs.
Democratic lawmakers not mincing words about President Trump after touring Customs and Border Protection processing centers in South Texas on Sunday.
The president is also arguing in the last few days that this policy gives him political leverage with legislation. Hurting kids to get legislative leverage is unacceptable. It is evil.
Customs and Border Protection released these photos Sunday of the detention facility in McAllen, Texas. The media was able to tour the facility but barred from shooting any pictures or video due to what Customs officials cited as privacy concerns. Congress members who saw inside compared it to a prison.
You don't think a child who is in this facility, who has a 6x10 living area, by the way, a Supermax prison cell is 8x12, it's a 6x10 area, and you get out 2 hours a day. That, to I think a child 10 years old, is a prison.
Homeland Security Secretary Kirstjen Nielsen took to Twitter late Sunday denying any policy of separating families at the border, saying, "We have continued the policy from previous administrations and will only separate if the child is in danger, there is no custodial relationship between family members, or if the adult has broken a law." The White House says the goal of the border policy is to deter illegal border crossings. One of those alleged crossings turning deadly Sunday. Authorities in Texas say a vehicle packed with undocumented immigrants flipped near the Mexico border after being chased by the Border Patrol, ejecting 12 people and killing at least 5. I'm Melissa Rainey reporting.
House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi will visit the U.S.-Mexico border in California today to see the impact of the administration's efforts to crack down on illegal immigration there. Now, police in Washington state said a gunman was fatally shot by an armed bystander outside a Walmart Sunday evening. According to witnesses, the suspect began shooting inside the store in Tumwater and continued firing shots in the parking lot.
The suspect tried to carjack a car. And when the individual who owned the car did not cooperate, he ended up shooting that car driver. Then the suspect tried to hijack a second car. And as he tried to hijack a second car, a citizen who was here in the parking lot took his gun and shot the suspect.
2 other people were injured in the shooting, and a motive is not yet clear. Now, soccer fans couldn't help but celebrate Mexico's opening World Cup win on Sunday. But as our Adriana Weingold reports, the day ended abruptly for some revelers.
It was a big day for Mexico's soccer fans who didn't expect to win the game against Germany and went crazy when they did. Hundreds of people filled the streets of Pacoima, waving flags, screaming, celebrating Mexico's win.
Completely shocked the whole planet, but obviously not us. Look around. This is what we do.
We just come here to celebrate, have some fun, and happens to be, it gets out of house sometimes.
And that's exactly what happened, as foot traffic spilled into the roadway, with drivers ignoring speed limits and traffic laws, doing burnouts and getting dangerously close to the partiers on foot.
If somebody loses control of their car and hits crowd or comes up on the sidewalk, this business is still open. That creates a major concern for us.
LAPD swooped in fast, shutting down streets, focusing at first on the intersection of Van Nuys and Laurel Canyon before carefully dispersing crowds. They moved in formation through the neighborhood as the helicopters circled up above, forcing partiers to move on.
We're out here being safe, honking, walking around with flags. There hasn't been no violence. I've been out here the whole time. We're just out here celebrating, enjoying our victory.
For the most part, the celebrations were peaceful. Out of the hundreds of people out here, 3 were arrested. 1 for reckless driving, 1 for being drunk in public, and 1 for illegal fireworks.
Almost makes me kind of wonder what's going to happen in Lubbock if Texas Tech manages to take home that College World Series title.
I know, that's crazy. That was a huge upset. Germany was supposed to win.
Huge upset. Yeah, exactly. And so I feel like it'd be the same for Texas Tech going into there, being, number 9. We already knocked off number 1. Who knows what's going to happen to this town if they take it home?
Yeah, now we get Arkansas, and the World Cup's been crazy. Brazil drew 1-1, and then there's just been crazy games, upsets, and games that aren't supposed to be tied. It's just,
I know. That's what I love about sports.
Yeah.
I'm always a big rooting for the underdog person too. So.
Like Texas Tech.
Exactly. Bingo.
Yeah, hopefully they get the big win tomorrow, but we're feeling like